Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
A slow-speed police chase outside Kansas City, Missouri ended in a fiery explosion Sunday night when authorities say a suspect's pickup truck burst into flames and rolled into one of their patrol cars. The bizarre chase began just after 11:15 p.m. on October 12th when Clay County deputies tried to stop a driver near I-29 and North Oak Trafficway for having no license plates. The man initially pulled over and spoke with the deputy, but appeared shaky and under the influence, according to the sheriff's office. When asked to step out of the truck, he suddenly took off. Deputies followed the driver through local roads at speeds that never exceeded 45 miles per hour. The pursuit continued until the man pulled into the wooded area behind his own home near 53rd Terrace and North Delta Avenue. There, he bailed out of the truck and jumped a fence, fleeing into a nearby field as smoke began pouring from the vehicle. Moments later, the suspect's truck caught fire and exploded, sending flames shooting several feet into the air. The blast knocked the vehicle out of gear, causing it to roll into a parked patrol car. No one was inside either vehicle at the time. A second deputy arrived and managed to chock the burning truck's tires with concrete blocks before moving the patrol car out of harm's way. Firefighters from Kansas City soon arrived to extinguish the blaze, which had spread into some nearby brush. Deputies chased the suspect on foot and caught him shortly afterwards. The man later admitted that he was high on methamphetamine at the time of the incident. In a Facebook post afterwards, the Clay County Sheriff's Office posted a video of the strange footage, writing in part, quote, "That feeling when the suspect you were trying to catch takes off on foot, leaving his hoopty truck to catch fire and explode." The suspect was initially held for 24 hours before being released when the hold expired. On Wednesday night, prosecutors filed a felony charge of resisting arrest, and deputies said they're working to take him back into custody. Despite the dramatic flames and explosion, no one was injured. However, unsurprisingly, the suspect's truck was completely destroyed.
The residents of a Tennessee community are calling for police to do something this week after a wild crash allegedly caused by a speeding underage drunk driver on a notorious stretch of road nearly caused the deaths of multiple people. The incident took place at around 8 a.m. on October 12th in a neighborhood on the outskirts of Nashville. It was a Sunday morning and most residents were still in bed when suddenly they were jolted awake by a massive noise coming from outside. That noise was a car which had just slammed through the roof of one of their neighbors' homes. According to police, that vehicle was being driven by an underage drunk teenager named Evelyn Sis. Witnesses later told them that Sis was driving at over 100 miles per hour down a section of nearby road when she lost control of her car, hitting an embankment and sending it flying. The house Sis smashed into belongs to a local woman named Jennifer Pittman. The part of the roof she crashed into was right above Jennifer's bedroom. Miraculously, moments before, Jennifer had left the room with her two dogs. If she hadn't, there's a good chance all of them would have been killed. As you can see from photos of the home and vehicle, the crash was devastating. The impact left Sis with a broken neck, while her passenger also suffered injuries. Currently, the teen driver is recovering in hospital, though she has so far been charged with driving under the influence, drinking under the age of 21, driving without a license, and reckless endangerment. While everyone is understandably grateful that things didn't turn out far worse, Jennifer and her neighbors say none of them are surprised by what happened. The spot where this took place, along Smith Springs Road, is a notorious area for speeding. Residents say they've had problems for years, and now they're calling for police to act to ensure nothing like this happens again. In an interview following this week's incident, Jennifer told reporters, quote, "We have a going joke. Who's going to get hit head on first turning into our driveway? That's how bad it is, so something definitely needs to be done."
Authorities in Pinellas County, Florida say that a New York father is facing charges this week after he was accused of causing a drunken high-speed jet ski crash, an incident that left two young children hospitalized, one with life-threatening injuries. According to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office, 48-year-old Daniel Patrick Grubert of Piermont, New York, was racing another rider on a rented Yamaha Wave Runner near Johns Pass on the afternoon of Sunday, October 12th. Deputies say Grubert looked away from where he was going and failed to notice another jet skier directly ahead of him. When he finally realized a collision was imminent, Grubert reportedly jumped off the Wave Runner, leaving it to slam into a second jet ski being driven by 45-year-old Walter Woodsian. Two children, ages 7 and 8, were riding with Woodsian when the impact threw all three off the vehicle. Emergency crews from the Madeira Beach Fire Department rushed to the scene and pulled the victims from the water. Both children were transported to a local hospital, one suffering life-threatening injuries and a near drowning, and the other sustaining non-life-threatening injuries. Woodsian was not hurt. Investigators with the Pinellas County Marine Unit determined that Gruber showed, quote, signs of impairment, noting his slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, and the smell of alcohol in his breath. According to the arrest affidavit, Gruber claimed he had, quote, one twisted tea, a hard iced tea with 5% alcohol content, before the crash. However, deputies say he performed poorly on field sobriety tests at the scene. Gruber was arrested and charged with 2 counts of boating under the influence causing serious bodily injury and 1 count of reckless operation of a vessel. He was booked into Pinellas County Jail and released on October 14th on a $100,500 bond. Authorities say the crash remains under investigation by the Marine Unit and the Major Accident Investigation Team.
Authorities in Marion County, Florida say that a local teen is behind bars this week, following a bizarre incident last month in which he allegedly faked his own abduction, sent terrifying messages to his family, and even shot himself in the leg, all as part of an elaborate hoax that led to a massive days-long search. According to the Marion County Sheriff's Office, 17-year-old Caden Spate began the fake kidnapping on September 25th near the city of Dunnellon, about 50 miles south of Gainesville. That afternoon, Spate texted his family claiming he had been shot and kidnapped by, quote, 4 Hispanic men in a light-colored van. His location pinged along Highway 484, where deputies later found his abandoned truck, its windshield shattered by a bullet hole, as well as suspected blood nearby. Believing the teen was in grave danger, the sheriff's office deployed helicopters, K-9 units, and put out an Amber Alert to locate him. Investigators found drag marks, a damaged cell phone, and bicycle tracks leading away from the vehicle. However, detectives soon learned that the entire scenario had been staged. Witnesses had seen Spate riding around near the fake crime scene on a bicycle, not appearing to be in any danger. Police also discovered the teen had recently purchased camping gear from Walmart and had searched ChatGPT for information such as, quote, collecting blood without causing pain, and Mexican cartels. Investigators now believe Spate intentionally fired into his own truck, staged blood evidence, smashed his phone, and fled on his bike to keep up the lie. 3 days later, on September 28th, police in Williston, roughly 25 miles north, found the teen during a separate service call. He was still in possession of the same bicycle and had a handgun and was suffering from a shattered femur caused by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the leg. In a statement afterwards, the Marion County Sheriff's Office wrote in part, quote, the initial details that Caden texted to his family were proven to be false, completely made up. His claims that he had been shot and abducted were quickly disproven. Spate was taken to the hospital for treatment and later arrested on October 14th. He now faces multiple charges, including filing a false report, firing a gun into a vehicle, presenting false evidence, and possession of a firearm by a minor. During a court appearance, Spate's attorney argued for his release so he could receive proper medical care, citing his weight loss and recovery needs. Prosecutors, however, pushed for continued detention, citing community safety concerns. A judge ultimately ordered that he remain in juvenile custody, ruling that the detention center could handle his treatment. Spate's next hearing is set for October 23rd. According to police, Spate still has not confessed to fabricating the shooting and abduction.
A Virginia family was reportedly left terrified this week after 3 masked intruders showed up at their door in full Halloween costumes, threatening to kill them and trying to force their way inside, an ordeal that was caught on the home's Ring security camera. The incident happened around 10 p.m. on Tuesday, October 14th, in the city of Alexandria. The footage shows 3 people standing outside the front door wearing creepy Halloween masks as they begin pounding on the door and shouting threats. One of them can be heard saying, quote, it's either you come out or we come in. According to one of the victims, Shayla Whiteside, at first she thought the whole thing was a prank. In an interview with local media, she told reporters, quote, I said, Happy Halloween, but then they said they were going to kill us. Shayla explained the house belongs to her recently widowed mother and that at the time she was visiting her mom and her younger brother when the intruders started kicking and pounding on the door, demanding entry. When the masked trio couldn't break through the front door, they moved to the back of the home, where they reportedly ripped a screen door, damaged the fence, and pounded on the windows. Shayla stated, quote, "They tried to enter into my home. My heart dropped when they said they were going to take a chair and break down the door." The family called 911, but the suspects weren't deterred even after being told the police were on their way. The disturbing encounter lasted nearly 10 minutes before the suspects finally fled in a car. Investigators say the group is believed to have removed their masks before leaving the neighborhood. Alexandria Police Chief Tariq McGuire called the case a very serious matter, warning that what some might consider a prank could have ended violently. During a press conference, McGuire stated in part, quote, "They attempted to enter a residence, and under Virginia law, that constitutes burglary. We're actively searching for you. We're going to ultimately find you." Police are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby homes and businesses to identify the suspects, who could face charges including burglary, criminal threats, and property damage. Given the apparent Halloween-themed aspect to all of this, Chief McGuire also urged parents to speak with their children about the risks of dangerous pranks, saying, quote, "Do not go up to people's doors, make threats, or play with their lives. These kinds of stunts can lead to someone getting seriously hurt or killed." Shayla said her family has since left the home and is now staying elsewhere out of fear that the masked group could return. In another interview, she said, quote, "At this point, we're just afraid. We don't feel safe anymore."
A successful Detroit area businessman narrowly survived a shocking ambush outside his luxury home this week when a masked gunman opened fire as he was leaving for work. The shooting happened at 10:18 a.m. on October 14th at the gated residence of 61-year-old entrepreneur Eddie Jawad in Macomb Township. Surveillance footage captured the chilling moment a hooded man leapt from between two parked cars on the property and began shooting at Eddie's SUV as he drove down his driveway. Eddie, who owns roughly 20 pit stop gas stations in the Detroit area, was struck in the leg and suffered cuts from shattered glass, but managed to speed away and survive the attack. The father of 5 later told reporters that he fired back a warning shot before escaping across his front lawn. The suspect, described as a thin black male between 5'6" and 5'8", was seen fleeing east on 24 Mile Road in a newer model black Ford Escape with a stolen license plate. Investigators say the gunman entered the property at approximately 9:30 a.m., nearly 45 minutes before the shooting, and waited for Eddie to leave his home. Video shows the man climbing over a wall before taking position between two vehicles. When Eddie's SUV pulled out, the suspect immediately opened fire, continuing to shoot even as the businessman drove off. Macomb County prosecutor Peter Lucido called the incident an attempted execution, adding that Eddie's survival was nothing short of a miracle. Lucido said that the motive remains unclear, but confirmed it was not a robbery. In an interview with local media, he stated in part, quote, "This isn't a free-for-all. People don't have the right to go around shooting at others just because they're angry or offended." Eddie's wife, Khadija, said that the attack was unprovoked and that her husband has no known enemies. The businessman, a Lebanese immigrant who came from humble beginnings, was back at work the next day. The ambush occurred just months after Eddie made headlines for being removed from a local council meeting where he loudly opposed the construction of a Sheetz gas station he believed would threaten his business interests. Authorities have not said whether that dispute is connected to the shooting. After reviewing hours of neighborhood surveillance and doorbell footage, some of which was released to the public, the Macomb County Sheriff's Office announced that it had made an arrest in the case. On October 19th, they raided an address in the city of Warren, taking a 32-year-old man into custody. While police allege that this suspect was involved in the attempted murder, so far they have not commented on whether they believe he was the actual shooter. In an updated statement that same day, they announced that more details will be released as they become available. At the time of this recording, the situation is still under investigation, and authorities are urging any members of the public who might have information about the case to come forward.
Residents in a normally quiet Florida community were left stunned last week after a naked man went on a late-night rampage, breaking into homes, smashing property, and terrifying locals, some of who now say the suspect is lucky to be alive. The chaos unfolded in the city of Pinellas Park on the night of October 7th when 23-year-old Joshua Garrison was caught on security cameras wandering through backyards completely naked, touching himself, and damaging property. Homeowner David Dale said he woke up to his doorbell ringing in the middle of the night. He later told local media, quote, "I was asleep and the doorbell rang, and I answered the door and there was a guy standing there, and he was stark naked." Moments later, David said the intruder hurled a potted plant through his truck window and tore the lights off the front of his house. Another homeowner, Thomas Reichman, recalled an even more disturbing encounter. He told reporters, quote, "He went into my shed, grabbed an axe, and came back onto the back porch. We don't know why he didn't use it." Security footage showed Garrison pacing around Thomas's backyard, drinking a beer and a can of soda he had taken from an outdoor fridge before climbing over a 6-foot fence and vanishing into the night. Police responded to multiple reports of break-ins on October 7th and arrested Garrison several days later. Authorities say he is believed to be homeless and was taken into custody without further incident. He now faces a list of charges including armed residential burglary, lewd behavior, criminal mischief, violating probation, and 2 counts of residential burglary. Video released by police shows Garrison roaming naked through yards and peering into homes before being confronted by one resident's dog, which appeared to scare him off. He was booked into the Pinellas County Jail where he remains in custody. Residents said Garrison's erratic behavior left them shaken, though said he was also lucky that most victims were asleep at the time of the rampage. One local stated in an interview, quote, "We're all Second Amendment people here in Pinellas Park. We will shoot you. He got lucky we didn't wake up." Another said, quote, "If he had gone into the wrong house, he might not have ever made it out alive."
Authorities in Hillsborough County, Florida released a major update in a terrifying recent home invasion case, announcing that 2 men were arrested last week after allegedly using an Apple AirTag to stalk and ambush a local couple. Authorities say that the attack took place on the night of August 19th, when the couple in question pulled into their driveway following an evening out. Surveillance video released by the sheriff's office this week shows 2 masked men rush up to the SUV as the pair begin to get out. One of the suspects grabs the woman from the passenger seat while the other threatens the driver with a handgun. Both victims were then forced inside their home. The intruders fled after an alarm was triggered, something which may have saved the victims' lives. Investigators say the suspects had previously attached an AirTag to the underside of the couple's vehicle and used the device to follow the SUV back to their residence in the community of Odessa. Deputies recovered the tracker taped beneath the bumper during the investigation, and detectives later traced the device back to a purchaser who helped identify the suspects. On October 8th, authorities arrested 26-year-old Luis Charles in Tampa during a traffic stop. 2 days later, they took 32-year-old Odardi Maldonado Rodriguez into custody in Pasco County. Both men are now charged with armed burglary of a dwelling with assault or battery, armed kidnapping while committing a felony, robbery with a firearm, false imprisonment, and the illegal installation of a tracking device, among other offenses. Charles was additionally hit with a sexual battery charge, and a federal immigration hold was placed after his booking. During a press conference in which surveillance video and details of the arrests were released, Sheriff Chad Chronister said in part, quote, "To be ambushed at gunpoint in the very place you should feel safest is every family's worst nightmare." Deputies say the AirTag that the suspects used ultimately helped detectives locate them because it was purchased and registered using identifying information. Both suspects remain jailed without bond as the investigation continues. As an aside, if you or anyone you know uses an iPhone, Apple and security experts say there are built-in alerts and third-party Android apps that can help detect an unknown AirTag traveling with you. Deputies are reminding residents to check around their vehicles and to report anything suspicious to law enforcement. Hey there. Before you take off, we'd just like to take a second and say that we really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Luke and I are so grateful for our incredible Crime Zone community, so thank you for being a part of it. If you want to help Crime Zone continue to grow, one of the easiest things you can do is leave a like on this video and consider subscribing. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well and select all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you're looking for additional ways to support the channel, there are a couple of options. We've got a thriving community over on Patreon, where you can get ad-free and early access to all of our content, as well as 4 additional stories per week for each of our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International videos. Head over to patreon.com/crimezone to learn more and to meet some of the awesome people whose names are currently on screen. If that isn't your thing, we've also now launched channel memberships so you can join directly here on YouTube. Channel members get a lot of the same perks as on Patreon, including extra content, without the added hassle of having to go off-platform. Now, that being said, we know times are tough and that not everyone is able to support financially. Regardless of your situation, though, we want you to know that we truly appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much, and we hope to see you soon.